Hello tanks and tankettes, welcome to the 9.9 updates video, and as has become the habit with these, well in recent times anyway, I'm going to combine it with a bit of live recorded gameplay, so it's not just some bits of odds and ends that I've got lying around in the background. So it really is the same as last time. There's not really any major changes. As you can see, I've still got the garage set up for 2 rows. I actually had to do a bit of my own work this time round because Kodos was apparently basically functional between the 9.8 version with 9.9, but I had to figure out how to drop in the bits of updated XVM myself, which took a little bit of head scratching, but that's all working. So I've got that set up with 2 rows in the carousel, as you can see, or could see. Everything else is also pretty much set up as it was. Locastan's Minimap is working just about, although it does have a disclaimer on his website that it possibly doesn't work with the domination mode, which I haven't been playing myself. So I think what I might do this time round is, as I don't think that's been updated, I'll include a version with Locastan's Minimap and a version without, which I don't usually do, but if you're playing domination, I don't want people's client to suddenly start crashing. Otherwise, the Hitlog is, that's part of Kodos, that's all working. The in-garage stats is all working. Jimbo's Crosshair, as you can see, is absolutely fine. So it is just basically the same as usual, with the exception of Locastan's not being quite fully updated, and I'm not quite sure what the issue there is, although it might just be that they didn't get a lot of notice with the test server or whatever. I don't know. I don't really pay attention to test servers these days because I don't, generally speaking, find it worth my time to download them with my internet speeds. It's largely not worth the time and effort just to get a couple of days of playing. This, by the way, this is the R35. There we go. It actually says right there on the screen. Well done me. This was one of the low-tier French vehicles that was put in when, obviously, you'll have noticed the AMX-30 and the 30B for those of you playing the higher tiers. But this thing is one I don't know that I've actually played before, you know. It might just have been sat in my garage. It is not unlike the H35 in a lot of ways, but I think it looks pretty cool. And I think we're actually going to need the hill there. It's got the same armament as the H35. It's pretty slow. It's fairly well armoured, but actually the frontal slope is not too bad at all. And it's exactly the same turret as the H35 as well. So, yeah, I think we're going to need eyes on that hill. So now that I've covered the mods, the other thing I wanted to mention is that I will not be at Gamescom this year. I've had 1 or 2 people ask, because I know some people will be there, but unfortunately it just basically is not affordable for me. I could just about manage Tank Fest with the aid of Wargaming themselves. They were able to help out the contributors with up to a certain amount. They had a kind of a threshold, but they were able to help out with stuff like travel costs and accommodation costs and stuff like that. And for me, it was that expensive getting off the island that they didn't even fully cover just those flights alone. All the rest of my travel costs, all the trains and buses and whatever that I took, especially the taxis while we were there, are definitely not covered even remotely. So they covered most of my my flights to and from Southampton, but otherwise, yes, it was a little bit expensive. But I do want to do it next year, and I know what the costs are going to be more fully ahead of time. Oh, depends on see now. This is where this little tank can come into its own, because watch this. Just a bit of angling. Also, I've set him on fire, which is not bad with this gun. And yeah, the H35, they are very, very good at trolling Panzer 1Cs. So even though I didn't get to do a lot of damage there, doesn't really matter. So everybody, this is a tier 3 game. Everyone just piled in the cap, and now they're all dead, pretty much. I mean, what do you want? It's tier 3. The other thing I thought I might mention, as there's a little bit of time, is stuff I've been reading and watching lately, because these are the only kind of videos I put up with every patch, as it were. And, oh, hello, I've been spotted. Yeah, 75% crew. And I'm dead. Yeah, I've been actually, while my arm has been recuperating, and it is still a bit, playing for more than, say, 2 hours at a stretch is still causing a bit of pain. But it is definitely feeling a bit better, and I've actually been catching up on reading and watching stuff on Netflix. So I've been delving back into some stuff I've not read in a very long time. I broke out the Isaac Asimov, and I've got a whole load of Asimov on my shelf. And I've actually already read, in the space of just a couple of days, The Stars Like Dust, and I'm about to start on the Foundation trilogy, the original Foundation trilogy, which I've got basically in a collected volume. And I do at some point, because there's a second trilogy that was written by other authors, I think after Asimov's death, but it was like his estate authorized it, basically. His widow, I believe. We might actually win this, by the way. See if this Panzer 2D can do the business. But yeah, I've never read it apart from one of them, which was, I think, Second Foundation. Oh, nice, nice, good shot, sir. And I'm kind of keen to, because the authors involved. It's like Greg Bear was one of them. I think, did Stephen Baxter write another one? I can't remember, but you know, very good authors. And in addition to that, Asimov himself wrote a couple sets for slightly later periods of the Foundation timeline, I guess you want to call it, which I've also never read. And yeah, there's all these books that I've never read and I want to, and I might be going on an Asimov binge, because earlier, from kind of last year till early part this year, I was on a Game of Thrones binge. George R.R. Martin. I just ploughed through the entire series again, including the latest ones, which I hadn't read yet. So I'm up to date with Game of Thrones as far as the book goes. But it's been a while since I really read any Asimov in any way, shape or form. And it's one of those things where you go back and you think, is this going to be as good as I remember? But no, it is. It actually is. So there you go. And also, in terms of things I've been watching, well, just odd films that I've found. Nothing that really stands out. But I have watched a series called Knights of Sidonia, which is actually an anime series. Didn't expect to like it, but it's kind of grown on me. And it's an interesting mix of hard sci-fi with what I believe are more typical Japanese anime tropes. But I can definitely see influences of Battlestar Galactica. Maybe not direct influences, but similarities too, shall we say. But the new Battlestar Galactica, a very thick novel, I can't remember the author's name now, but Cities in Flight, which is regarded as one of the more classic works of sci-fi. An interesting book indeed. Maybe a little soupçon of Ender's Game, and there's probably one or two other influences or similarities to other works I'm missing there as well that I've thought of and then just forgotten because, you know, me. But yeah, I'm actually rather enjoying it, so I can't wait to see more of that. And there's it is based on a manga apparently, so yeah, that's I don't read a lot of mangas. In fact, the only one I've really sat down and read was Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind, and that's because I came to that through the film, the very excellent Studio Ghibli film. So who knows, maybe this could be another one that I go away and go, I'm going to buy all of these and really get into. But it's been good, yes. So that's the thing that I thought I would mention as well. So we won, probably in no small part to, you know, obviously my influence there was just I carried that team so hard. I mean, look at that. I even got a cool-headed medal. So look at how hard I carried that team. That 81 did well though. 34 shots fired, 11 pens, but still that was enough for 700 odd damage. But yeah, so that concludes the mod video. This was not really any serious gameplay in any way, shape or form, but these videos usually aren't. If you have any questions about the mods, well, first I would refer you to the README file where you can find all of the links to the forum threads where you can ask the mod creators directly themselves if you're having issues. There might be things I may be able to help you with, but if it's not covered in the README, then you're probably better off going and asking the actual mod creators. But ask away all the same. You never know, it might be something I might be able to help with. If you have any other questions, you can ask them. Any other comments you want to leave, you can obviously hit the like button. You can subscribe if you're not already. And, of course, as always, stay tuned for more.